What's good, everybody? This your boy Blackout Jones with Just Shooting the Sports. Well, it is official. Lane Kiffin, the man of the hour, the man for a couple of weeks, the man that held Ole Miss in a holding pattern, has decided to take his talents, to take his coaching staff along with him, because I'm pretty sure they're coming, to LSU. The decision was made today. He had a couple of weeks to make a decision on whether or not he was going to be with Ole Miss or whether or not he was going to take the job at LSU. At one point, Florida was in the mix, but they decided to take their names out the hat. And I think there are rumblings that John Summerall out of Tulane is the coach in waiting for the Florida Gators position. But, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Lane Kiffin, he's always been a bulletin board, or he's always been a highlight of medias, and always keeping himself relevant, in the college football ranks. Well, the LSU contract, as I see it right now, it is for 7 years and is worth approximately $12 million annually, with the potential for bonuses, and that's coming out of ESPN under Pete Thamel, which in turn it will make Kiffin one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. I mean, are you surprised? I'm not. The only thing it's not even surprising anymore. I think this situation here is more of, Ole Miss is 11-1. They just finished beating their in-state rival, which was Mississippi State, 38-19. They had a shot to play for the SEC championship if Alabama had took a loss last night against Auburn, but they didn't. Would that have changed his mind going to LSU if they did win that game? Who knows? I think his mind was already made up, and it was already made up a long time ago. My thing is this, as far as the players are concerned, you have to kind of look at them, and, you have to kind of figure out what are they thinking about, what is in their minds, What is their mindset going to be when they go into these college football playoffs without their coach? You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like? Because let's be honest here. Since NIL and since the transfer portal, the players get a bad rap when they make a decision to either transfer to another school or they just don't even play in the bowl game, right? But let's not forget who started this. The coaches started this whole thing. Remember? Don't forget. These coaches were the ones that were leaving their players when players couldn't even leave. Didn't nobody have a lot to say then. But now that the players are doing what the coaches are doing, now all of a sudden everybody has an issue about players transferring and going to another school, and, it's not about, there's no I in team, there's only me, and all those things, right? Coaches had the same mindset. There was a guy by the name of Brian Kelly that, made some moves, while the season was still going on. Coach has been doing this thing. And I remember talking about it a while back, even when Nick Saban had an issue with one of his players and he was trying to keep him from going to another school in the SEC. Okay, but it's okay for you to go from LSU to Alabama. Oh, it's okay when they do it, but when I do it, it's not cool. This is not surprising whatsoever, especially from Lane Kiffin. And that's the reason why the reporter said, hey, you can't turn a you-know-what into a housewife. Now, he wasn't calling him that, but basically what he was saying was your commitment. Like, what happened to the commitments, the loyalty, the legacy builder, if you will? Nobody wants to build legacies at schools anymore. The last coaches that have, wanted to build legacies, Nick Saban was one. Kirk LaFrentz out of Iowa is the other. Kirk LaFrentz, he's going to have to pretty much quit before Iowa gets another head coach. That's just how loyal they are to him. Nick Saban would probably still be coaching right now if it wasn't for how the NIL situation is going. But this is the land that we live in right now. But you can't get on the players when the coaches were the first ones to even start this thing about leaving school and leaving players that actually came to that school for you. Sometimes they may not have came for the university and the brand of the university. They came for you. So it is what it is. I'm just coming on here, man, real quick to kind of drop that news about Lane Kiffin. The thing that tripped me out, man, let me find it real quick. Because this was funny. This was hilarious. That's if it's still on here. This man had the audacity to say, I was hoping to complete a historic season with the Rebels. Were you? Were you really hoping that? Were you, Lane? Because if that was the case, you would have stayed. You already knew what it was. Once you made your decision, the athletic administration already decided you're not coaching the Rebels. So don't come out here and sit there and say, oh, I hope I could have finished this season, this historic season. This historic season should have kept you there. If it meant that much to you. You could have just left well alone and not say anything and just said, hey, I enjoyed my time here at Ole Miss. I appreciate everyone that, that stood behind me, each and every year as I coached this team and all that good stuff. But to sit here and say, oh, I wish I could have been able to coach this Ole Miss team to a historic season, well, that's out the door. You never know, Lane. This could have been your national championship year. Now you got to go to LSU. And we already know what's going to happen. You're going to go down there. People from your coaching staff is going to follow you. Players that are at Ole Miss are going to follow you. They're going to transfer, which then what happens? Ole Miss gets left with nothing. And then they're probably going to digress, depending on who their coach is going to be. Now, they got to look for a head coach, along with other teams out there that's still missing head coaching, that still have coaching vacancies. But why should I worry about it? I'm a Tennessee guy. Why should I worry about it? You know why? Because everybody wants to give crap about the players and about what they do. But don't forget, the coaches started this a long time ago. So, with that being said, this your boy Blackout Jones with Just Shooting the Sports. And what are y'all thoughts about Lane Kiffin going to the LSU within the SEC conference? Boy, can't wait to see LSU versus Ole Miss. That's going to be a barn burner, isn't it? Especially from the hotty-toddy fan base down there in Oxford. Woo, must-see TV. You got to love it. Oh, and I know why I'm talking about this. Because I am a Tennessee Volunteer, and we know what it feels like. Until next time, peace. Go Vols.
Survive if I let you.